Welcome to your custom deep dive. Somewhere, hidden behind the glass of your local movie theater projection booth is, well, this single piece of hardware. It's about the size of a pizza box, costs around $3,600, and if it goes down, your massive blockbuster movie goes completely silent.
Which is pretty terrifying for a theater owner.
Right. Today, we are pulling from a detailed product catalog page over at HD TV Supply to demystify the hidden central nervous system of the modern cinema.
Yeah, it's called the QSC DPM-300H digital cinema processor. And, that's our mission today, figuring out what this unassuming, rather expensive box actually does.
Because it just quietly sits there in the rack, acting as the literal brain for every single sound you hear when the lights go down. So, okay, let's unpack this. I kind of think of this processor like an air traffic controller for theater sound.
That is actually a great analogy. But instead of just telling planes when to land, it's like it's unpacking cargo midair and routing very specific pieces of luggage to entirely different trucks on the ground.
Wow, okay, that sounds complicated.
It is. I mean, it manages 10 digital inputs for 5.1 and 7.1 soundtracks.
Right.
Plus, it handles HDMI for those massive data formats like Dolby Digital Plus and DTS HD.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how it bridges two completely different eras of technology, right?
Exactly. It's totally built and optimized to receive all that dense digital audio content directly from modern digital cinema servers.
Yeah.
But it also includes an 8-channel analog input.
Wait, analog? Like for old school film?
Yeah, exactly. That allows a theater to just plug in classic 35mm film audio system. So it speaks the analog language of yesterday and, the digital language of today.
Okay, hold on, though. I need to play devil's advocate for a second here. The $3,600 is a lot for what's basically an intermediary box.
It is a steep price tag, yeah.
Right. So why can't a theater just take that digital movie server and plug it straight into the amplifiers? Like, what is this thing doing that a server can't do on its own?
Well, a basic server just spits out a single full audio signal. But commercial cinema speakers, they don't work like the basic Bluetooth speaker in your kitchen. They require really complex frequency routing.
Complex how? Like, what does the spec sheet actually say?
So the specs show the DPM-300H features these digital loudspeaker crossovers. And those are specifically designed for passive biamp, triamp, and even quad amp operation.
Okay, stop right there. Quad amp operation. If I'm sitting in the third row just eating my popcorn, why does that matter to my ears?
It matters because it means dividing the sound. Instead of sending an entire audio track to one speaker cone and making it do all the heavy lifting, amping splits the frequencies up.
Oh, I see. So it sends different parts of the sound to different speakers.
Right. Like biamping sends high pitches to the tweeters and low pitches to the subwoofer separately. Quad amping splits it 4 ways. You get highs, mid-lows, and extreme lows.
Okay, so the processor is physically separating those audio frequencies before they ever even hit the amplifiers?
Exactly. That ensures the explosion hits your chest while the whispers stay perfectly crisp. And it also uses something called intrinsic correction.
Intrinsic correction. I mean, that sounds like a sci-fi movie title. How does it intrinsically correct anything?
I know, it sounds fancy. Basically, it relies on preloaded acoustic profiles. The manufacturer, QSC, they measure how their loudspeakers behave in a lab. Then they map out the acoustic flaws and program those corrections right into the processor.
Wait, really? So right out of the box, it alters the audio signal to perfectly counteract the physical quirks of those specific speakers.
Yep, it fixes the flaws before the sound even leaves the system.
That is wild. But, okay, if this single box is handling all of that complex frequency splitting and acoustic correction, doesn't that introduce a terrifying single point of failure?
Oh, absolutely. If the audio traffic controller goes down, the entire theater goes completely quiet.
Which is a nightmare. You have a lobby full of people who bought tickets. How does a theater prevent a massive refund situation if this pizza box crashes?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, commercial reliability is paramount in this industry. And the spec sheet actually highlights a fascinating safeguard for that exact scenario. It's called bypass mode.
Right. I saw that on the page. How does that actually work mechanically?
It is a hardware-level failsafe. If the main digital processing components inside the box overheat or crash, the system instantly detects the failure.
And then what? It just reboots?
No, it actually physically reroutes the audio signal completely around the dead digital components. It sends a basic, raw signal directly to the outputs.
Oh, wow. So it literally bypasses its own broken brain just to keep the audio playing.
Exactly. I mean, it strips away the fancy tuning we talked about, but it ensures the show will go on.
That is so smart. Plus, I noticed theater operators aren't just left guessing when things go wrong. The specs mention it has built-in Ethernet network monitoring.
Yes. And it has a physical booth monitor loudspeaker built right into the front panel, complete with a headphone jack.
So an operator can just stand in the booth, plug in, and isolate the audio going to any one of the amplifiers over the network.
Yeah, they can monitor thousands of connected amps to diagnose a bad cable or a blown speaker without leaving the room.
Man. So, the next time you're sitting in a theater feeling the perfect rumble of a soundtrack, you'll know there's this dedicated 10-channel processor seamlessly directing all that audio traffic right behind the scenes.
Just quietly making sure every single frequency hits the exact right amplifier at the exact right millisecond.
It really changes how you look at the theater experience. But there is one final detail in the specs we should leave you with today. The source mentions RS-232 serial automation control.
Right. That's an older communication standard that lets external computers command the processor's inputs, outputs, and volume automatically.
Exactly. Which makes you wonder, if the audio routing, the acoustic tuning, and even those emergency hardware bypasses are entirely automated and network controlled, how much of your local movie theater is already running completely without human intervention?